Okay, guys. So, good morning, everybody. I hope you've all had a good weekend. It's Monday morning for you guys, Sunday evening over here. So today we're going to focus on chapter 4 of the book, and it's Dare to Dream. So we've got an interesting interesting lecture this evening. So, you can sort of work at your own pace, go back over it, read through some of the materials. And as always, you can always email me if you want more information. There's a quote I saw one time. It said, regret can describe not only the dislike for any action that has been committed, but also regret of inaction. Many people find themselves wishing they had done something in a past situation. Most people regret the things they haven't done, not the things they have done. And I took that to mean that in life, and I suppose when I look back on things now, for me, it means that, okay, when you set a goal, you have a dream, you have a vision, there's always a chance you might not realize it. And the idea for some people is not to even try, because they think, well, I won't have a goal because the pain or the feeling of not achieving it, or maybe if I don't achieve it, people will sort of laugh and think, well, look at him or look at her. But equally in saying that, I think the people who have the most regrets in life are the ones who look back and didn't have a goal. Because you can sort of be humiliated for a moment, that'll last a moment, but you can spend a lifetime of wondering what if. And that's one of the things I think with you guys, the effort and application is tremendous. Week in, week out, you're there, you're giving it your best shot, know that you've got your own dreams, your own visions. And I hope, sincerely hope, honestly hope that, you go to where you want to go, not just in football, but life in general. But I want you to think for a moment before we sort of elaborate on today's lecture is take a moment to think how you got to the level you are now. At one point, you weren't playing at the level you are now. Now, you're all talented, you've got ability, great ability, talent, and you didn't get to where you are just waking up one morning. You worked hard, you had a plan, you had a vision, and you went out to achieve that vision. And obviously, it's still early days in many of your careers. But like I said last week, there's moments in our life where we make these decisions, these choices, and they have a big impact on what we do. And when you take a moment to think that it took hard work, dedication for you to get to where you are now. Every player you watch on TV or every player you see, at one point, it goes without saying, wouldn't have been playing that level. Now, I know I'm stating the obvious, but sometimes we can forget that even the best players in the world at one point, they couldn't even kick a ball. So you have to practice, you have to have a vision, you have to have a dream. And I suppose the ones that make it to the very top, there's many factors, many variables. I suppose, vision is certainly one of them, a dream, hard work is one of them, many, many variables. You could make a case, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about luck, and neither do I. I don't think luck is the question. I think that timing, if an opportunity presents itself, are we prepared to take the opportunity? That's the big thing for me. I do think that luck is a variable in the sense that when the opportunity comes up, are we ready for it? That's the sort of key. And sometimes, a certain manager needs a certain player and you're on the way. But when you think about how you got to where you are, and this is a central theme of our lectures because it makes you realize that you've come a long way. You've worked hard and you continue to work hard. As I've mentioned before, getting up early in the morning and sort of putting the effort in that you're doing takes a lot of effort and application. But in saying that, I'd like to think, like I've always said, that sort of effort and dedication will serve you in good stead wherever you go. Whether you end up in an academic career, a business career, that's what you need to do in life in general to sort of succeed. however we define success, we need to sort of, put it in. And for a moment, and we're going to do an exercise today, which is useful. You can go back over it. That is quite good, and I've done with many performers over the years. And it's about just letting your mind run wild and thinking, okay, yeah, absolutely. Being a footballer is not easy, as are many careers. And being a footballer, making it as a footballer isn't easy. There's only so many places. 11 players can only play in one team at any given time, and you've got one player each position, and you've got thousands of players trying to take that position. And getting there's one thing, and staying there's another. I'm not naive to think that it's not challenging. But as I said earlier before, the quote for me resonates because you give it your best shot and you leave nothing in the tank. And irrespective of what happens, you can look back and think, well, I did my very best. But then you've got to look at things, okay, you've got to also think, well, why not me? If someone's going to make it, then why not me? Why can't it be you? That's one question you can ask yourself. I put the effort in, I turn up week in, week out, then I'm giving myself the best chance. And I've said before that these skills we cover, they're not just for football, they're for academic skills. You might have in mind to do a degree, a master's, anything really. You might want to set a business up sometime. And even if you make it as a footballer to the very highest level, you might want to do these things as well. And life, you might have your own aspirations in life that you want to do. There's many, many things, this exercise is quite useful to do, not just sort of from that perspective. It can be useful. You might have other goals. Maybe you want to get, be a sensei in karate, or do jiu-jitsu, or play an instrument. There's many things that you might have in mind to do as well as. But before we sort of go into that, if you were approaching the end, the last match of your career, I'll give you a moment, a couple of minutes to think about this, because this is about thinking. I'm encouraging you to think outside the box. Some of these sort of questions we don't get very often. And I think to myself as well, sometimes I think, if the team or my own career in doing what I do, if I was going into a last game, what would I be thinking? Looking back, whether it's sort of, doing radio broadcasting, whether it's sort of working with a team on a consultancy basis, whether it's working with a semi-pro team or an individual player, what would I be thinking? And this is why I to think you reach the end of your career, what's going through your mind? There's going to be many, many things. So this is sort of taking some time to reflect and think, okay, I'm going into that game. And what is going through my mind? You probably think about the career you've had, the people you've met, the friends you've made, the places you've traveled, the things you've won. All these experiences go through your mind. So you're making these experiences. And these experiences you make at one point are a vision. Just like, the things we use, this technology was a vision in someone's mind at some point. The academy was a vision at one point in Tony's mind. It starts as a vision and you grow that vision. Today is about sort of growing that vision into a reality to the best of our ability. Sometimes we put dreams away. I'm sure we've all been there. There's been times myself I thought, you know what, I don't know if I can achieve this vision, and it's okay. We all, and sometimes we put them away for various reasons. That people get into our head. We also, many things we've sort of covered on the seminars the course we've been doing, and we'll sort of cover and think about some of the things that you may have put away and think, okay, maybe you start to think and someone says to you, they've got an opinion in your ability and you might doubt yourself. But this for me is about just giving yourself time. And I'll give you a few minutes to think about what your vision is, what your dream is. And away from here, it's worth just to let your mind run wild and think, what is my dream? What is my vision? What do I want to do? What is the big picture for me? And you might think, while you think about this, well, what if I write it down and it doesn't happen? Well, there's a chance for all of us. But life is short, at least in this physical form. And basically, we owe it to ourselves to give it our best shot and do the best we can. And that, for me, is the key. And when you think about the dream, the vision, sometimes you mention the dream to the teachers, even sometimes family and friends. And sometimes people say to you, well, I don't think you're good enough or clever enough or talented enough. And they may mean well. You know, friends, family, they might mean well. But it's okay. You know, everybody has their opinion, and that's fine. Okay? Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's okay. You know, what you got to try and do is sort of see through that and sort of be the master of your own mind. And sometimes it's a challenge, guys. You got the dream, you have a dream and a vision, and the people sometimes you think are going to support you the most are the ones who sort of say, well, I don't think you can do it. And sometimes they mean well. Sometimes people don't want to see other people with the setbacks. Sometimes the teacher might say it because that's what they believe through their own frame of reference. Maybe the coach has this opinion you meet along the way. You don't start in the 11 and you think, well, if I'm not starting in the 11, but even the best players in the world, guys, have not made starting 11s. Now, even the best players in the world have been released at some point. You know, many, many great players have been released at some point. And I said before, you can carry these things to other areas too. You know, you can carry and transfer these skills to wherever you go. And the idea is to carry on and keep focused. This is what this evening's about. It's about, and this is what this program's about, to keep focused, develop mental skills. And the technique we're going to cover shortly is about, you know, staying focused. And when you meet resistance, because I mentioned earlier that sometimes it's easy. Sometimes, I'm not saying it's easy, but sometimes things are going really well. Things are well, and you know, you're flying through the leagues and you're scoring goals and you're on the way. And yeah, it's different then, but sometimes you get left out of the team. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you go for a trial, you don't make it. And this is the test. This is the challenge of our resilience and our belief, and to decide what we want to do. That's the idea, really, going forward. And I can think of a lot of people in my career that might not have been the most talented in my career doing what I do. They may not have been the most bright. They may not have been the best, but just through persistence, belief, keep going, they either got there or they got to where they needed to be. Maybe they changed career, maybe they sort of went in a different area, but then they were able to transfer the skills to wherever you go going forward. That's the sort of important thing for me. The idea is you got the most amazing, powerful resource, your mind. You got the mind, you got the brain. Your brain is capable of many things. One thing I think that they should tell the young people in schools, the capability of the brain is so powerful. If you put your mind to something, who knows what's possible? You know, your mind's powerful, and you don't need me to tell you how powerful your mind is. You think, you know, from being born to not learning how to walk, to run, to do the things you do now, to doing all these incredible things and these incredible innovations that have been created. So you've got a powerful resource. It's channeling it, guys, and focusing like a laser beam. Some people dream big and go for it. Some people decide to dream within the realms of what they perceive reality. It never ceases to amaze me what's possible when people just let their mind wander and flow. And you've probably heard the radio interviews I do, and I interview some of the world's best athletes and sports people. It's just fascinating to think when they speak. It's really fascinating, you know, asking questions, and when you hear them speak about their own careers and at what point they felt they could make it, and the vision. And, you know, one interview I did recently, she's a Taekwondo champion, and she said as early as 5, she said, you'll hear the interview because I've been doing some pre-records recently, as early as 5, she felt she wanted to be in the Olympic or win the championship. She's not qualified yet, as far as I'm aware, but is on the right path to getting there. But equally, there's many others I've spoken, it's only like their age, you know, and that incredible focus. And do you think these people in their career, people haven't said to them, you couldn't do this or whatever, you know? It's like I told you before, you know, I don't like to bring these things in, and I'm not a bragging person, but I told you with my daughter in school, the history teacher said that, you know, she was lucky to get the C in history, whatever, the grade, and she went in one of the top in the whole country. And now, you know, she's working on she's invited, she's part of a documentary with, you know, which you'll see. I can't give too much away because it comes out in 2 weeks, but it's phenomenal what you can do. And that's not to brag. I'm not, anyone that knows me, I don't blab on. I'm just saying it, what's possible if you put your mind to things, you know, if you do it, you know. And I find you guys inspiring as well. I think that, you know, you guys inspire me when I work with people like yourself. Your energy, your desire, it makes me think as well, and it makes me raise the bar. I'm always thinking, how can I help, you know, players like yourself more? What can I learn? What can I find out new? I've got obviously a strong science base, but I don't know it all. And I've been working in game for many, many years. I've worked with many great players. But I don't know it all, and I'm not relying on just the things I did in the past. I have to learn new things to stay ahead of the game. We don't rest on our laurels. At this academy, we've never rested on our laurels. You know, I've spoken to Tony on many occasions, and we don't sit back. We don't dine on yesterday. We keep going forward. We keep learning new things and to stay at the forefront. And I've said before that, you know, people can say what they want, but from a playing point of view, would happily go head to head against anyone. It's not a problem. You know, that's where we raise the bar, guys. We raise the bar as high as we can. We raise the bar at the very, very high. That's the key. So the exercise we're going to cover now is turning a vision into a dream into a reality. You know, so the idea is here, sometimes people get a bit overawed. They think, oh no, what if it doesn't materialize for me? And as I mentioned earlier, there's no guarantees for anyone, anything. Although, one thing I know, guys, and I've been in the game for long enough and in sport for long enough, if you don't have a dream at all, then you won't achieve anything. So you may as well think big. Like the saying, go big or go home. That's the key. You may as well go for it and see where you end up. That's the key. You put it all in. And here, this is the idea. And I tell my athletes, let your mind run wild. You're not accountable. If you feel at any point it's not for you anymore, you go to a different career path or you might fall short, then it's okay. I sometimes enjoy the exercises. Think of all the things that you'd like to achieve, the dream. You know, It could be anything. It could be playing Champions League. It could be playing international football. It could be, who knows, anything. You know, whatever works for you. You might be winning certain trophies. It might not be. It might be just playing at a certain level you're happy playing, and your dream is to build a business and maybe study a course or maybe do something else. Who knows? That's your own dream. It's not for me to say what you should and shouldn't do, or anybody else for that matter. All I know and all I can do is sort of help you from my variable, from my expertise, to work on the mental skills of the game. That's all I can do. All the coaches can do is help you technically, tactically. Tony, always looking for new ways, innovating, always working hard and thinking, and what can I do and to improve things. And that's the way you roll. And for you, just think, well, what could it be? You can write as many things as you want and make a mental note. Who knows? There's been times when I've spoken to players like this, they've come back years later and said, yeah, can you believe it? What I decided to do, I ended up doing. It's good. That's what you want. As I said before, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I don't take any credit for any player, because this is my role to do, you know, irrespective of where you end up playing. You go play for a Champions League team one day, international football, great, happy for you, and more than anything, if you end up with a business somewhere, or you end up being an academic or university lecturer, or whatever you decide to do, I'm happy, or you just end up doing whatever really attracts. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that, you know, I've shared some ideas, and so it's not about me taking, or anybody taking any credit. You're putting the work in. I'm just there to sort of share ideas that I have done for many years, and things I've learned and keep learning, and pass them on to you guys. And hopefully it can make a difference, whatever that difference is in the end. But you think about the things you'd like to achieve, and it's always good to dream. Sometimes it's good to just, you know, even lying down and, you know, listening to music, and, you know, and this is the issue sometimes. That people think I'm having a go at teachers. I'm not, because I'm a lecturer myself. But, you know, it's like, guys, you're in school young, and you say, I want to do this, and, you know, it doesn't, maybe it's changed since I went, I don't know, but this is the feedback I generally get. There's very minimal. It's very minimal where people say, you know, you get them saying, you know what, and I know academics really important. You do your math, you do your English, you do the core skills, absolutely. But what's the harm in saying, okay, you know, dream big. The future is you guys. You're the young, you know, you're the youngsters out there. You're the one who's going to take the world forward. All we can do at my age is sort of share experiences and you know, go forward from there. So that's the whole thing, to be creative. You know, then the idea is really to think of a time when you were creative. Think of a time when, even it could have been you walking on the beach, or going for a country walk, or a meal with family, music. If you think back to that time when you're really creative, we're going to get into a creative state. Okay, think what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. It could even be in a game, football, where you're really creative. You found a way to score a goal. You found a way to beat a couple of players. The idea is to go into that state of mind where you're really creative. Okay, and you can go back over this again, and you get into that really creative state, and think about now, going a bit deeper, your life's purpose. You know, what are you here for? Maybe you're here to inspire. Maybe you want to inspire a generation of people in the area you live and show them what's possible on the global stage. Maybe you're the one to do it. Maybe you're the one to sort of, you know, blaze a trail. Think about what you're passionate about. I mentioned obviously football, but there might be other things. You know, if all things were possible, there's no limitations. That's what I say to my people I work with. Just, you know, go for it. Let your mind run wild. It's just an exercise that gets us to think. If there were no limitations, you know, what would we do? And it's a very powerful thing to do, and this could be anything. Achieve a degree, a master's degree. I could do a business. It could be scoring 40 goals in a season. It could be inspiring a whole generation. When I speak on radio to some of the world's best athletes, we talk about inspiring a generation. It's so powerful. All it takes is one person to make it, and it can inspire a whole generation of people to follow and think, well, we can do it too. If he can do it or she can do it, why not? It's like women's football now has grown. It's a lot bigger than it used to be. It took people to have belief and to go for it and to sort of get out there. It's inspiring to think that what people can do when they put their mind to it. You take some of the footballers around the world. It's inspiring when you read their story. Some of them come from places around the world where they don't have much money. They don't even have a football or football boots or nothing like that. And they find their way. Really, really inspiring stories when you think that they must have had a dream in their mind and thought, you know what, I have a dream. And against all the odds, the barriers, they keep going and they get there. And yeah, there's many that don't make it as well. But I'd like to think that I mentioned all the ones who don't make it, at least can say they gave it everything. I left nothing in the tank. And that's a lot of respect for people who do that. Now, what we do is we sort of start to make it real in terms of, think of a time you're realistic about a plan. It might even be playing at the level you are now. You might have thought, okay, you didn't just dream to play the level you are now. You went out, you trained. Okay, a time you're realistic. You saw it logically. This is not realistic in a negative way. It'd be real. This is like logically. If I'm going to do it, what do I need to do? Okay, if I'm going to make it, what do I need to do? And in that mindset where you're realistic, think about what resources you would need to achieve your dream. Think about the plan, the age you are now, the age you want to play, the time you'd need, the investment you'd need, training-wise, and obviously on the right track, you're training hard, doing whatever. But think logically. Okay, and we talked about having a role models as players. Think logically. Okay, well, for me to get there, to make it reality, just like you did to get to where you are now, to go to that next step, the next level. You've got a ladder, you keep climbing the ladder. Sometimes you fall a step or two. Sometimes you might come all the way down. You keep going up again. You learn. Okay, and think of what you need to do to get there. And then it's about thinking about the sort of from a critical point of view. And what I mean by critical point of view, you've got to think, okay, well, what are my weaknesses? Realistically, what do I need to improve? Can I really achieve the dream with these weaknesses I need to work on? That could be fitness, tactical, technical, it doesn't matter. What are my strengths? Okay, and there's been times in the past to get to where you are now, you didn't wake up out of bed one morning, you got there, you worked hard, you worked on your weaknesses, you capitalized on your strengths. But what you did to get yourself where you are now will not get you to that next level. The next level, and this is why I admire you guys, you're getting up in the morning, you're training, you're working hard, you need to do something different. Okay, you need to go through the gears. And that's the key. And this is about finding solutions. In the past, you found solutions to the challenges. You might have been out injured. You found a way to train. These sort of things that you do. And yeah, when you think from a critical point of view, there's challenges in the dream. There's some things we can control, some things we can't control. We can draw a list of both. Obviously, we can't control what's going on in the world at the moment. Obviously, around the world, there's sort of you know, changes, travel restrictions, and these change, and, but that's beyond our control. What happens there is beyond our control. We can control is train, keep ourselves in the right mindset, keep doing, and this is the thing when you hear me interview some of the athletes, and we talk about Tokyo, which is the next Olympic game, you talk about that, or whatever tournament they've got coming up. Well, they can't control what happens in the big level. What they can control is every day they're training. You know, they can't control, obviously, whether it happens or not at the moment. From my understanding, it's going to go ahead, but we don't know. No one knows. That's one thing we learned this year, is how fragile life can be. You know, 1 minute you can be doing whatever, next minute it changes dramatically. That's the way it is. But the key thing is you've got to keep going. Keep believing in yourself. And the areas that are going to work as barriers for you, and to look for solutions. We will look for the solutions to make sure physically you're ready, mentally you're ready, with mental skills. That's the key to that. But now we want to go back to sort of all things being possible in life. And so going back to that mindset, you know, that mindset. You know, when you're a child, you're very, very young as a child, you dream of playing football at a big stadium and scoring a goal and in that creative state. You don't think at that point, you know, can I really do anything like that? At that point, you sort of go for it. And you can apply that mindset to find the solution to any issue that comes up, that creativity, to find the solution. You focus 90% on the solution. Okay, you identify what the issue is. I found what the issue is, and now I'm going to focus on the solution. Okay, if I've been dropped from the team, for example, if you're a footballer who's been dropped from the team, rather than moaning and complaining, it is an issue. You find 90% of the time you focus, what can I do? That might be work on another component of the game. That might be speak to the manager. That might be find a different team. I don't know, but looking for a solution is key. If you go for a trial, you don't make it, then we look for a solution. What do I do different next time? If you're struggling at the moment for form, I want you to focus 90% of the time to find a solution. If you're on a goal scoring, you haven't scored for a few games, then rather than dwell, will I ever get my goal scoring back again? No, focus on solution. This is the same, applies in schools, in university, you're studying, and you focus on the solution rather than focus on the negative consequence. We identify the negative consequence. You go into a game, there's a chance you could lose the game. But equally, that should motivate you to find a way to win the game. Okay? When you play against opposition, you have to focus on as many ways that you can think of to give yourself the best chance to beat the opposition, rather than think, okay, you know, I'm playing this person, and you know, you mentioned before, you sort of think, oh no. And that's the other thing, you know, when you hear me do the interviews, you'll hear sometimes certain sports people, they watch certain people on TV, and one minute you watch them on TV, one minute they're training with them. And I ask them, I said, well, what's that like? Well, at first, a lot of them say it's a bit, you know, yeah, surreal, but then you've got to adapt fast. There's no point staying there and just watching. I mean, you watch them training thinking, I'm in awe of this person, you're there, and that's the key. That's the way it is. It's you know, you're there, and you've got to give a good account of yourself, you know, a good account, and sort of do the best you can. And, you know, it's no point you playing in a game, and you play in a game where you've watched someone on TV and being starstruck and watching and thinking, wow, no, you've got a job to do. You know, how am I going to stop this person? If you're a defender, how am I going to get around them? If you're an attacker, what can I do? These are the sort of key things to think about going forward, to think about. And I want now just to take a moment before we sort of close for this evening, the dreams that maybe you've put to one side, and get excited about them again. You know, maybe, you know, you're not playing as well as you're playing, you think, oh no, you can affect that. You know, get excited again. Get that spring in your step again, guys. You know, awaken the mind again. You know, maybe someone's told you, I don't think you're going to make it. And that has affected you, and you thought, well, I'll put things to one side. And that's what people do sometimes. You know, I see it in many people for whatever reason. The key thing is now is to sort of think, okay, let me get that back out of the cupboard again, and we go again. You know, go again to the best of your ability. But the dream is only a fantasy unless you take action. That's the sort of key, which you are doing, and you wouldn't be up in the morning ready to go for a training session if you weren't willing to take action. But there's taking action, and there's going out there, and every week is a new week. Every day is a fresh training session. Today in the training session, as I always say, step out there, train as you play, leave absolutely nothing in the tank. Absolutely nothing in the tank. Go out there and train and give it all you've got. And once you've done that, you take time to reflect on what you've done, where you need to improve and what you need to do to move forward, and also enjoy it. You know, these are great times in the sense that you're playing, you're out there, enjoying the game. You know, obviously I'm aware that around the world there's various challenges. I don't mean they're great times in that sense. I'm saying for you guys, it's sort of great to be on the field, to let everything go and just cut loose, enjoy it. But there's no holding back on the training, guys. You know, you're going in there, you're training to play. You know, give it everything today and sort of throughout the week. Give it everything. And as always, you know, I'm only an email away. If you've got any sort of questions, comments, otherwise, you know, keep doing your mental skills, keep working on yourself, you know, keep with your dreams. You're brave lads, you're good lads, fantastic bunch of lads, and you know, you just keep being brave and sort of getting on that front foot, and that hopefully won't just sort of serve you in football, but it'll also serve you in life as well, and anything else you decide to put your mind to. So next week we go again, guys. It's been a great session. I've enjoyed this morning. It's, you know, Dare to Dream. Next week we're sort of going to be working on some new ideas, some new processes that you can work with. And as I always say, you take what's right for you, and we'll go from there. So have a great day, guys. Have a great week, and we go again. Thanks, guys. Take care. Thank you.